Hey guys, today we're going to germinate some seeds. Let's get it! All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get the seed starting mix that I'm going to use mixed up. So I have here some old peat moss. I threw in some random topsoil I have. There's a lot of ways you can do this. You can use just peat moss only. You can use cocoa coir. I'm trying something a little different. I'm going to use a little bit more of an organic mix, which I don't usually do, but I'm going to test it out. There's a million ways you can do this. I'm going to throw in some vermiculite and some perlite for drainage and water retention. Again, I'm not going to measure because I don't think it's too important to measure, but this is going to help keep the mix drained. And this is going to help, the vermiculite is going to help with water retention. Some of you might be asking, why are we doing water retention and drainage? Well, we want moisture in the soil, but we don't want it sitting sopping wet. So you want it to be able to drain excess water, but also maintain the water that's needed to germinate the plant. Now we're going to mix this up. Again, most of the time I just use peat moss. Don't put anything organic, any additional organic material in here, but we're going to try this out, see how it does. What's odd is I've gotten mixed results almost every time with every different type of combination of seed starting mix that I've come up with. So I have not found a perfect science, including the peat moss pellets, and even like if you buy just a pre-mixed topsoil. In controlled conditions, I still always get, varied results. So, very well, what does it hurt to try something different? That's what we're going to do here. All right, now that I have this mixed up, all I'm going to do now is fill my cups up. For this first fill, I'm not going to press it down yet. I'm just going to leave it flush at the top. I will compact it a little bit when I put the seed in, and then we'll backfill it also. But for the first layer here, I'm just going to fill this loosely to the brim. And I'm going to get all these filled up, and then we'll talk about next steps. All right, a couple things I do want to talk about are the types of seed starting trays that you use. So this is a cell tray. It works well, much smaller. You have to keep this together, obviously. So if you want to transplant stuff individually, you can still do it, just a little more difficult. So I use that sometimes if I'm doing mass seed starting. Other option are these types of pots here. So this is a crappy pot. I'll never buy these again. It's a waste of money. Get it out of here. This is kind of a mid-range. It's still a little bit, lower quality, but it's good. It has some rigidity to it. The top is rigid. This is by Shuttle Pot. Pretty decent. This is my new favorite pot. This is by Foxany, Foxany. I got it off of Amazon. Pretty cheap, $13 I think for like 30, and it is very rigid. So this is like a hard pot I can wash and reuse over time. It's got drainage in the bottom. The only thing I wish this had was a large hole to push the plant up out when you're getting ready to do the transplanting. Those others didn't have it either, but there are some pots that have those. I just really love this pot. It's like the perfect size. I don't have to transplant. I can seed directly in this and then put it directly into the garden, and it just makes things a little bit easier. I do wish it had a large push hole though. I'm sure there's one out there that exists, but other than that, this is a great pot. All right, so we have all of our pots filled initially to the brim. I have not packed anything down yet. This soil is moist though, so I do have that going for me. I have pre-made my markers that I'll stick in the fronts of the different areas, so I have those pre-made. It's just done on these PVC tabs here. Using just you can use just a Sharpie marker. This one has a little more weather resistance to it, but not necessary to use. I do have this little tool I'm going to use. Again, you don't have to use this either. Makes things a little bit easier to just poke a little hole for where your seed's going to go. And I'm going to do probably 2 to 3 seeds per pot. And I have a few different things I'm planting. We have broccoli, cilantro, spinach, and onion. Onion's a little early, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to keep it indoors for a little bit under the grow lamp and get it started in there. So broccoli's up first. I have plenty of broccoli already, but man, I loved eating it last season, so just having broccoli every day is nice. I'm just going to drop a couple seeds in each hole. You can do 2 or 3. I'm going to thin them out eventually. Okay. One more for good luck in there. I have these little mini containers I bought. They're kind of neat. I wish they were a little bit bigger. They're like Tic Tac containers. So they work pretty good. They come with labels. It's nice. You get a whole bin that you can store them in or for organization. Again, not necessary. All right, I'm gonna bust open the spinach here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my, actually I'm not gonna put my broccoli marker in quite yet. All right, spinach seeds. Now read your labels. All the hole depths recommendations are different pretty much from plant to plant. I'm doing mine relatively the same throughout. There are some generalities that do exist. But some plants require like 1.5 inches deep. Some, like onion, is usually much shallower than that. Okay, so cilantro, spinach. I am keeping my markers in front of the areas that I am, or in front of the pots that I'm sowing here, so that I'll remember what's what. All right, this is cilantro seed here. I am curious, what did cilantro say the depth usually is? 1/4. So we'll just fill these holes in. Right. Okay. And then onion. I am pulling onion seeds from last year. We'll see if these work. I only have 1 row I'm doing for now, just to see if they'll germinate. And this is another one that requires a shallow depth. So, for the ones that require shallow depth, I'm going to just cover up what's in here now. Okay, I'm not going to add soil on top. For the ones that require a deeper depth, I'm going to push everything down, and then I'm going to use my thumb to gently push down on all the soil on the whole pot, and then I'll probably backfill with a little bit on top, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to take my thumb now and try to get some of the air pockets out. All right, now for my spinach, I'm going to backfill just a little bit more on top of what's there, not a ton. It does require a little more depth for the seed, so I'm gonna just throw some topsoil on top. Topsoil on top. Okay, spread that out evenly, and we're almost done. Okay, for cool weather crops, I don't need a heating pad. So this is gonna get covered, watered, and just get stuck inside underneath the humidity dome. And to water, I am going to just use this squirt bottle here. So we'll just do a little bit of water on top. I don't need to soak this all the way through. This is sitting on top of a drain pan also. So it's gonna catch any excess water that runs out. And then as these plants start to grow, there's a roly-poly in there. I'm gonna leave it and see what happens. As you start to grow, we can do bottom watering, meaning we just put water into the pan underneath, and the roots from the plants and the soil will capture moisture that way. All right, now we have all the soil in, we have the seeds in, we've watered it. Now we're just going to put in the marker tags here. And I just know that the row to the right of it is the same as what's flagged here, with the exception of onions, which only have one row. So now there'll be a humidity dome that goes on top of this, and these will just sit to germinate for a few weeks, and I'll have to update you guys back once they sprout.